Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be transforming myself into a girl from the 1960s. I do this every 2 weeks. The playlist will be linked at the end of the video, so check them out because I'm going back in time. To forewarn, this series will be going on pause for October because October I'm going to be doing spooky videos, short films, and just like, Halloween-y sort of thing. I will be continuing this series in November when I transform myself into a girl from the 1950s. So you'll have a month break where if you haven't been caught up, you can watch all the other ones where I transform into different decades. I started with 2020 and have gone all the way to 1960. And I will continue going until the end of the year, and then we'll see. American fashion in the early years of the 1960s reflected, most importantly, Jacqueline Kennedy. In addition to tailored skirts, women wore stiletto heels and suits with like boxy jackets, big buttons, the Jacqueline Kennedy suit. Simple geometric dresses known as shifts were also in style at the time, and the bikini, named after the nuclear test site Bikini Atoll, was invented in the 1940s and did not gain traction until 1963 when a teen beach party type movie called Beach Party showed off the beautiful bikini. The early 60s gave birth to the drainpipe jeans and capri pants. So traditionally, pants were seen as masculine in Western culture, but during the 60s it became more allowable for women to wear pants. The idea of shorts for women, maybe boys, evolved around 1969, so before then, no shorts. Another popular thing was called space fashion. This started up in the late 50s and went into the 60s based off of like Star Trek and the space race in the Cold War. Another piece of fashion that was created in the 1960s was the miniskirt. It was created in 1964 by the creator known as Mary Quant. Sorry if I said that wrong. It has also been identified as someone else saying they made it, but the miniskirt was made in 1964, and this became quite popular with women, especially mod girls. Mod girls would wear very short miniskirts, go-go boots, and monochromatic patterns. Another fashion choice was called the dolly girl. Dolly girls wore their hair long and teased, of course, and wore childish clothing. Some of them would even buy clothes from the child section. It was clothing that was supposed to make you look young, and it was very tight-fitting. Alright, here is the final outfit. Is it perfect? No, but I tried my best. So we'll start with the bottom and go up. On the bottom, I have heeled boots. Now, these were quite popular in the 60s, especially go-go boots in bright white. I do not have that, neither do my parents, and so I am using these black ones. Of course, they're not as accurate, but they're still a type of boot, so it's getting there. For the main outfit, I am wearing a dress. It's a slip dress. It's very just bag, which in the 60s was a popular thing. Shift dresses have been in and out of popularity for a long time. These sleeves are flowery and long, which I don't think is quite accurate unless I'm trying to be a hippie, but it's the closest thing to a 60s outfit I have. I did have a shirt that I could have used, but I didn't have a skirt that was accurate. Now that we're getting back into the older decades, it's going to be quite hard to do this because 70s upward you could probably do with clothes in your closet, but 60s backward, it's a lot harder to do with just clothes you have. You have to have specific things. So I'm going to try and get as close as I can. The 50s and 40s, I think I'll be able to do a pretty good job. 60s is just not a decade I dress often, so this is the best I could do. I put a belt around. It's not that accurate. Many women did not wear belts like this, but there were a few that did. And because I hate looking like a bag, so I had to add something. And then on the top of my head, I have a newsboy cap, which came into popularity in the 1910s and 20s, was around in the 60s, and was popular in the early 2000s as well. So I'm going to be wearing it. Now, the hairstyle that I'm about to do defeats the purpose of having a hat because I'm going to be doing a beehive look, which anyone who knows what a beehive look like is very high in the back, so wearing a hat would be useless. So I'm going to wear this hat talking about it, and maybe I'll just hold it or set it on top, but I wanted to wear the hat because I like this hat, so yeah. 1960s hairstyles ranged dramatically from the beginning of the decade to the end of the decade. Beginning of the decade, the beehive was the most popular hairstyle. By 65, very short hair was popularized by Twiggy. And by the end, very long, straight hair was popularized by the hippies. The pillbox hat was fashionable, due almost entirely to the influence of Jacqueline Kennedy. Wigs became popular in the mid to late 1960s, and people would add it to their own hair to make their hair look bigger. Kind of like the stereotypical look in Hairspray. People wanted big hair. Starting 80s early. So depending on what kind of look you're going for and what part of the decade your hair could change dramatically. If you're going hippie, long and straight. If you're going early 60s, beehive. If you're going mid 60s, cut your hair really short like Twiggy. So like, or you could go page boy. Like there's a whole bunch of different hairstyles, but I'm doing early 60s, or trying to. And I'm going to try doing a beehive. I've done this on my TikTok before, so hopefully I can do it again for you guys. I'll try and film how I'm doing it, like I have been doing with my makeup, but we'll see how well that turns out. Alright, let's do this. Okay, so now we're going to do the hair. Now normally when I do these videos, I don't show off me doing the hair because it's simple, like I leave it, or I put it in a tie, and I'm done. But this time around, we're doing a beehive, which has more to it, so I'm going to show off how I do it. Now, I've never done this on camera before, and I'm going to be looking off right here because there's a mirror right here, so I know what I'm doing. So if you're wondering why I'm looking this direction, that is why. And I'll try my best to show you as best I can. If I don't show you the best that I can with doing a beehive, you can always look it up on YouTube. That's where I learned how to do it. I'm also not the best at it, so we'll figure it out as we go. What you're supposed to do with beehive is there's two different ways you can do this. You can do all your hair, you know, like, oh, beehive. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do only part of my hair. So what I normally do is I take, let me just show you from the back. I take like the top part of the hair, so like this part, separate it. Then I take the bottom chunk, hopefully, that I have a good enough amount, and I put it in a ponytail so that way it's not getting in the way of my work. Also, I have very thin hair, so this might be more or less for you. So now you look kind of stupid. It's fine. Now, with this, you're supposed to, so that it stands up, what you're going to do is you're going to back comb it all, so that way it goes like this. So it goes up. So, this is this might not be the best tutorial on how to do this, because I just, I'm not very good at doing tutorials for hair, but we'll see. I might have, so, just gotta grab a chunk and then just go, grab a chunk, like this, and then go, I don't know how to do this. Now, of course, this is going to make your hair very, poofy. Look at my hair! It's so big! This is going to make your hair, shall I say, staticky and big, and it can get snarled up from doing this. So afterward, you're gonna probably have to wash your hair or brush it. Now, once you have a chunk of hair that is totally perfect for a beehive, it's it's up. So what I normally do is I take the hair and go like this, so it's up. And then, oh my god. And you don't want it ginormous, but you do want it quite large. I'm thinking it's quite big. Normally I don't have it this big. I think that will work. What do you guys think? So it looks a little cringy in the back. But that's just how my hair always looks when I do this. So once you get it poofy enough to the point where you're like, yeah, that's pretty good, I like that, then it's time to pin it in place with a lot of pins. Now you could hairspray this, which is probably the smart move to do this. But now that you've backcombed it, it's not like most likely it's not going to shrink. I mean, it might.
I'm not a hair expert. But you know, get it to the point where you're like, yeah, that's a pretty good height. I like that height. And pin it in place so that way it don't be falling down. And if you need to back comb it more, then, you know, do so. You know, just wata and wata. And look at that. Very bumpy. It looks like a beehive. Now, once you have it beehived to the point where you like it, you take out the ponytail. Right? Now, you look like this. Now, you can go higher, and the back does look cringy. But from the front, it's not terrible. Now, what you could do here, and what I'm going to try and do, is, now, back in the day, they liked little curls, you could say, where it was, you know, wata, one curl at the very end, wata. Luckily my hair does that naturally, so I can probably just leave it how it is. It's a little wavier than they would have had it, but it's not bad. Now bangs were not a very popular thing during this time. So you can get rid of your bangs, or you can push them to the side, or you can just say screw it and leave it, which is what I'm gonna do.
The most prominent trend when it came to makeup during the 60s was the very thick eyeliner. And it wasn't like the eyeliner we see today where it's like on the lid and then a tiny, you know, triangle at the end. Oh, no, no, no. They would go from this side. Here, I'll take my glasses off. They would go from this side and trace the lid and then meet at the other end and then do a point. This created a cat eye look, as well as larger, more open eyes. When it came to the eyeshadow that you would put in between the liners, it was cool tones like grays and white and especially blue. Just saying, if you want to dress as any decade, have blue eyeshadow and you're set. When it came to foundation, women would get a pale foundation close to their skin color. Foundation was a newer product during this time, and they would just cover their entire face with it like a matte finish, just like full coverage, just wata, like face paint. And during this time there was like no contouring, no bronzer, none of that. Like blush wasn't even popular. Like if you had blush, it was very light and very bland. But like it was like matte cover that crap and then make your eyes as beautiful as you want. During the 60s, the eyes were the most important part. Everything else was shadowed by the eyes. When it came to lips, they would use very subtle natural tones for the fact that the point of the makeup was to look at the eyes, not the lips. So they would use pale colors, sometimes like slight coral, you know, very light colors. Sometimes they would even just put foundation over their lips or wear white lipstick. White lipstick was more for like fashion shows and stuff, but there were a few women who did it, you know, in every day. And they would just, you know, their lips paled in comparison. The eyes were the show. Eyes were what was important. Alright, this is the finished makeup look. So what I did with the eyes is I started out with blue eyeshadow. I don't know the exact name of it because I don't memorize the colors of James Charles palette, but it's blue. I'll put it on the screen so you know what color I used. I did both lids in this color, then I used a black eyeshadow for lining it for the fact that I suck at using eyeliner, and I didn't want to take the chance of messing everything up. So I outlined my lid with black eyeshadow and I went along the eyelash line as well, and I did that on both eyes. They are not twins, they're more sisters, because I'm never good at making anything look the same. When it comes to lips, you had to do pale so that way the eyes stand out, so I went with this pale lipstick that kind of smelled like a crayon. But, you know, whatever, it's fine. And for foundation, I just didn't do it because I don't own any, because I don't do makeup on a normal basis. I don't really need it. And the foundation that I do have is not my color, and I would look like Donald Trump. And no one wants to look like that guy. This is the final look. I think it turned out really, really nice. I really like the hair and the makeup. The dress, of course, if I could get more 60s, I totally would. I do have a 60s jacket, which you just saw that I would put on, but it is really warm in here and I don't want to burn to death. So I went outside and wore it. I think it looks really nice. I like the coat. It is actually from the 1960s, so you know, it's my baby. I only have a few pieces in my closet that are actually from the decade that they're based off of. Most of my clothes is recreation, so that was really nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be back with this series in November, as October is going to be spooky videos only because, of course, it's Halloween month. Duh. And so I'll be back with transforming myself into a 1950s girl. I hope you guys enjoy. Watch my other videos in the playlist that'll be linked at the end of this video. And yeah, I will see you guys on Thursday with another True Crime Thursday, and Monday with whatever I decide to post. Alright, see you guys. Woo!